This would be a complete walkthrough of the Lamatic platform. Lamatic helps turn domain expertise into reliable agentic apps, where we provide you a single seamless AI middleware and handle the rest of the things while you focus on continuously improving your AI solutions. Before we get into the platform itself, I want to show you how basically Lamatic works under the hood. The whole process is divided into 5 main steps. The first one is creating what we call workflows or flows. These are logical connections of different AI nodes to create meaningful business logic. And this is what you will do inside Studio, and we'll take a look into that in a second. Then we have ability to connect our own custom data. This might be your own big data sources from BigQuery, S3 buckets, Google Drive, code and no code both. And this could be unstructured verse and structured documents as well. Then you can connect different kind of models, LLM models, multimodal models, image models, and embedding models to achieve your desired outcome. Then once you have created your business logic, you can deploy that workflow on the Cloudflare serverless edge. This also comes built in. And then finally, you can connect your application using our GraphQL API, widgets, or webhook into your app, whatever method works for you in different scenarios, right? So this is like the overall 5-step process, and we'll go through the whole end-to-end cycle to understand how the Lamatic platform works and help you do this really quickly. Under the hood, what we are basically doing is everything that you would otherwise have to build yourself if you are building your own agentic generative AI applications, right? So this diagram could be read from top to the below. So as soon as you make a request, either you're going to use the app, the widgets, the GraphQL API, or the webhook to make a request to our system. Then that request enters into the core. This is the application that is deployed after you have finished setting up your agents. So the first thing we do is the request monitoring, check for the API keys, check for all the request limiting, rate limiting, and all that kind of stuff. Then we also support built-in request caching and vector caching. If we already have a result stored within the right ETL, then it doesn't need to go downstream, and we can return the results instantly. And this is really fast response rates. Then we have query control as well. If you are using JSON generation or GraphQL API, then we make sure that the results are type safe. And if somehow the result fails in the right quality we automatically retry the request. Then we have the core heart of Lamatic, that is the workflows. This is where you create your own business logic. Each workflow can have its own vector database connection, which is further connected to the ETL, or its own base memory where agents can really memorize different facts about the users, or even their own agentic runtime. And then finally, we have the model relay where you can connect with now by this time it's like 30 plus LLM providers, but 90% of the time you don't even need to look into those things because Lamatic abstract all that architecture into a single interface, right? So in this example, I'm going to talk about my favorite business that we work with. It's 84,000. It's because they're on a mission to use AI and all the advanced technology to accelerate the rate of translation. So what you're seeing right now is the connection screen. Once your application is hooked up to all the data sources, models, and vector database, this is what you're going to see. On one side, you can see all the models that we have. Pretty much connect with any model that you want. Just click on add model and we'll see all the categories of the model that you have. And not just like all the base model that these provider has, but also let's say if you have a fine-tuned model, then you can easily integrate those fine-tuned model as well by selecting your type and configuration and stuff like that. What's also unique is that you can also create your own model configuration. It's that if you want the project to use the same models, you don't want to set it again and again, you can do that over here. Also manage full preset settings in the configs as well, which is just a very unique way of creating a configuration. Let's say there is a very unique model setting that I really like. I can just call it like base config. And then I can choose my configuration. Here I can choose Anthropic, but I can really have multiple models connected over here as well. I can select different model parameters like temperature, seed, presence, all these things, which I like. I can even go further and add advanced logic as well. For example, fallback, which is my personal favorite. Let's say if the model A fails to complete the request, types out, and you can also select how much timeout you want. Then do something else, and then you have the config B. So we can have a situation where our config A is Anthropic model and the config B is OpenAI model. And once we create this, voila, we can use this configuration inside Lamatic itself without any issue. And if you later want to change any configuration, we can directly change it from here, and it will reflect in all the different nodes where this configuration is being used. Inside the model configurations, you can also update existing model credentials. Let's say you have a credential leak issue. You can do that all centralized from this platform itself. All right. Next up, we have VV8, which is our built-in vector database. You will be really using this if you are going to use things like vector search, RAG, anything that requires vector embedding. You can easily use this handy-dandy serverless VV8 vector database that comes built into Lamatic. And obviously, you can access it with the studio, but also directly through the API as well. And then we have data sources, which are all these different indications from where you can have unstructured and structured data imports directly inside Lamatic. So right now you can see we have apps connected, but you can even have more than one app connected for the same type of app, which is really great for multi-tenant situation where you might want to integrate with, let's say, up to 20 different databases at the same time, and then do something like agentic RAG across all those 20 vector databases. You can also add your own custom apps. Some of these apps that Lamatic maintains, for example, Google Drive, OneDrive, Gmail, all these kind of applications. And some of them are like developer applications like S3, where you can easily integrate with S3, and whenever there is new objects in the S3 bucket, Lamatic will automatically fetch them, and you can run like an ETL pipeline to manipulate the data or perform some functions on top of that. So for the setup, we have already connected with Postgres. So as you can say, you can connect both structured and unstructured documents at the same time. We'll come back to the flows in a minute. Inside, we have the interfaces. These are the way your application is being connected right now. So we have three types of interfaces. We have API, which is GraphQL. You can access over curl requests or through our SDK. And then you can also use stateful Next.js components to run queries. And then we have widgets as well. And for this application, yes, we are using widgets. So we have a chat and search widget at the moment, and we are constantly working on new widgets such as Ask widget as well. And then the last interface that we are not using for this application but also exists is webhooks. If you want to integrate with third-party asynchronous application, you want to run automations, you can do that. And then on the right-hand side, we have apps and tools that your models can use to perform different actions. Let's talk about the flows. But before we go into the flows, what are we doing here? Let's turn on some developer style and turn on the dark mode to make it like a little bit more easier for us to see, and also I think it looks pretty cool. So we can go into the flows, and this is where we see all the different flows that we have. So like think about flows as different business logics that you have. Sometimes you can have one flow with all the business logics of the world that you want to add, or sometimes you might want to break the application into different business logics depending upon your use case, right? Most of the time you can just use one workflow to do the job. So let's look at what do we have here. So we'll start with the search widget itself. The search widget, as I told you, is an embeddable search widget that you can put in your website. This is where we have the triggers kind of concept that comes in. This is your Lamatic flow builder, and you can see in there we have search bar as the trigger. I will also go ahead and also show you what are the different types of triggers that you can use. So if I create a new empty flow, you can see I get a choice of what type of trigger I want. And then what we were talking about previously, you can integrate with third-party apps over here. So you can basically trigger your workflow based on some activity that is happening in an external app, or you can use our built-in triggers, as you can see over here, whether it's API request search trigger, which is the search widget trigger, chat trigger, or the webhook trigger, to actually perform that job. So for this use case, we won't actually create a new flow, but look at our existing flow that we were just going through. So yeah, so this uses the search widget. That means whenever there is a new search entry, now this could be a new keystroke, or a person hits the enter, or different ways that the search bar is taking the input. Every time there is a search request that comes in, we have a built-in branching node. So nodes are basically different logical configurations or pre-built logics that you can easily use inside Lamatic. So in this one, we have a branching node, and this is pretty simple. Like I'm just taking a result from here and I'm sending it in 3 different directions in parallel. So this is really effective because now I can run 3 different logics at the same time. I don't need to wait for one result to complete before the other one gets in. And then I can collect the response from all these 3 and then send it to my follow-on node. So let's look at what are these nodes. These are data nodes, as you see with the green, and it also says data. And this particular one is using hybrid search, which is a combination of vector search plus keyword search. But if you don't want to use hybrid search, you can simply go in here and you can choose vector search, for example, or keyword search, for example, depending upon your use case, right? And you can also use like generate text or something, which we'll talk about in later. So we have this, which is coming in. One important thing is like you can easily configure node by just clicking on them. So once you click on them, the node appears over here, and then you can see all the different configurations we have for this node. The most important thing that this node is doing is it's taking the input from the search bar and then passing it directly to our hybrid search node. And how it is done, it's using variables. So variables are different data elements that you can pass from node to node. Variable can come from the trigger node itself, or you can generate it from one node and then use it in another node. To use a variable, you have two options. You can either hit the plus, which will pop up the variable selector. Then you can choose the node from which you want to select the variables. And then once you have your desired variable, you can see that. Then the other way you can do that always is like if a input field supports variable selector, you can always do two curly braces and then it will pop up the variable selector itself. Now you would notice that there is this very finicky thing going on where some nodes are colored green and some of them are blue. So what's going on? So basically green means all the nodes are go. So we are continuously testing. We follow a test driven methodology. That means your application is constantly being audited if all the nodes are fine. And as you can see in this step, what I did was I invalidated the previous state of test. So the node has some new data and that's why it says it's ready to test. Testing the node is very, very easy. You can easily go onto the node itself, hit the test button. There is also a play button on the node itself. And if I hit this node button, you will see that, okay, there is this debugger that pops up and now it is passing the data elements and testing the node itself. And as you can see now, the node is back to green. That means everything is working fine. And finally, lastly, this is the same thing that is happening across all the different nodes. If I go in here, the only difference is that every node is selecting across different vector databases. So this one is going to this vector database called passages. This one is for titles and this is for glossary. And then all of them are collecting the results and then sending them back to the combined results, which is nothing but a helper JavaScript function, which collects all the data from all these different nodes and then basically structures it nicely so that we can prepare search results. Right? And if I test here itself as well, I can basically test my JavaScript and see the result in action, how this result is looking like before I send it back to the widget. All in all, this is what our workflow looks like. Now, what we can do, a unique thing about Lamatic is that you don't need to leave this environment if you want to, let's say, test your application. So I can simply go to my application. Usually this would be, but I can hit the test button, open this up, and then you can automatically see that now all my nodes are being tested. And if you're using widget as your trigger, then your test window might look a little different because this now gives you option to basically search for any terms in real time. So if I do dharma meaning, as you can see, this is an auto type search box. That means every time it sees a new character, it will send a search requests. And I can see how the search is actually generating the results in real time. Now, obviously, this is a little bit slowed down version in debugger. In actual production, this search works really, really fast. But at least over here, I can see the render and see where it is going bad. And if I want to tweak the results, let's say I am seeing too many results around passages, I can easily go on passages and I can tweak this particular vector filter to get the desired result. So in the logs view, you can easily see different logs and what happened at a particular time. So let's say if you want to check what happened on this error situation, we can click here and you can see all these 3 nodes failed. And then we can further investigate the issue by going into the output. I can also take the same payload, test it again, and see if the application is working this time. And you can see it's working this time. So that means the problem was fixed. I can also go into the reports view, which is a filtered view of this particular workflow and what is the important metrics and KPIs that this flow is causing. This includes average response rate, total token consumed in that time period, what's the cost of those tokens. So we'll go back to the flow because there is one important thing we need to discuss. I skipped on some of the details. Basically, where did we actually get the search results from? So in that regards, Lamatic is a very unique platform which also gives you ability to perform data ETL. In this situation, the passages that we were talking about on which the search is being performed, it's being fetched from Superbase, which is a Postgres database. And what we have done is that we have connected Postgres as a trigger over here. And you can see we have Postgres credentials and we have set the sync mode to incremental, which means that every time there is a new row, it automatically sends the data to this platform. And then I can easily configure my pipeline, how I want to manipulate this. I can even test the data over here, see how the application data is looking like, transfer it to vectorize and all the different data nodes I have, and then index it directly into my vector database directly as well. So this is sort of the reverse side of that same workflow, how we are basically indexing the data. So the data is coming from the Postgres, being indexed into the vector database. Then using the same vector database, we have another search application which is performing. So by the way, if you have a lot of workflows like me, you can always use tags or statuses to filter your workflows. So you can also assign new tags to existing workflows to basically organize your project the way you want. In this setup, let's look at one of our multi-agent system that we have already built. So On high level, what this multi-agent system is doing is it's taking a webhook. This could come from an external automation again, whether it's your application or a third-party application. And then we'll have a supervisor node that we'll talk in just a minute. This supervisor is controlling these three intermediary node. And then finally, then we have a loop end, and there's like no further actions. If we want to perform, we can do that. But otherwise, this is sufficient process to do that. So the scenario is, let's say you get a lead, you want to research about the lead, and then you want to send them a personalized email. This is what this agent is really doing. So let's look at our first trigger again. So we have already seen how a widget as a trigger works. A webhook is as simple as endpoint that you can give to an external application, and then whenever you hit that endpoint, you send some post data on this endpoint. It will be sent to Lamatic, and then you can trigger a workflow from that. In this situation, we have a very simple schema where we are getting a URL of our lead. This could be the domain website of our lead, and then we have the recipient email, which is the email on which we want to, let's say, send a personalized email after we are done researching on that. So a supervisor node is basically a multi-agent system in which you give a goal and an assignment to a supervisor, and it will continue on performing the task until the task is complete. You give a overall strategy, goals, and what are the different paths and tools it can use. But mostly supervisor is on its own to decide what action it will take and what path it will take. So like our other AI nodes, you can enter into the AI node and you can configure what model you want. You can also, by the way, expand any of the AI node so that you can have a complete prompt ID interface in order to test your workflow. And in this case, our structured response is the subject and the email body, but it can go as complex as you want it to be. And then finally, we have the Gmail, which is one-click OAuth integrations that you can do with your different Gmail providers, and then you can send an email directly to the users. So let's check out how does the application works once we test it. So as you can see, our input payload is the URL and the recipient email. So we can easily test it, and you can see the supervisor is kind of giving instructions, and then we can also see a step-by-step process of how different nodes perform that action. So now the overall execution is complete. You can see the output of the supervisor itself. So what the supervisor did in this execution is, it looks like it sent it to the Firecrawl first to actually crawl the website, which you can see over here. This is the crawled content of the website. This was sent then to the JSON generate, which took that as an input and then generated the email copy, which looks pretty good. And then it's sending that email to the Gmail provider itself. Now let's say we want to update some of the information inside the email itself. We can do that just by hitting the generate JSON node and then opening up the prompt editor. So right now you can see use only the data provider, about the lead, no made up details. This is pretty good. Keep the tones as specific as professional, but make it a little casual, of course. And now I can test my prompt directly inside the prompt editor itself without going to the main debugger. This would do the same thing. Instead, it just will perform the action on this. And you can see now I have a little bit more fun to look at prompt over here. So this is a multi-agent system. Once you have built the application, the next thing that you want to do is deploy it. And this is where Lamatic's built-in serverless deployment comes very handy. So to deploy an application, first of all, make sure that you save all the workflows that you want to deploy by just hitting the save button. Then hit the deploy button, and you can also preview the changes that will be deployed during that time. In this one, we only have one new workflow, and you can selectively choose which workflows you would like to deploy or not deploy. So let's say we want to deploy the global search widget and the explore mode. We can also write a comment message and then hit deploy. What this would do is this would bundle the whole agentic application into a very small sized serverless function and deploy over different serverless edge locations on the Cloudflare edge network so that the request goes to the nearest server. But you don't need to worry about any of that. All you need to do is you can hit the API docs, and then you can see the instructions on how you can integrate this agent into your application. If you are using any no-code builder in some situations, you can also use our built-in setup guide within the same workflow and copy the vibe code prompt and paste into your favorite vibe code tool to integrate this application without worrying about the code edits and stuff like that. Just make sure that you don't publicly commit your API or any sensitive credentials of your applications to the production. Once our application is deployed, you can also see all your current deployments on the deployment screen, and you can see how much time it took, if there was an error in the deployment and all. If you have connected your GitHub, you can also roll back to a particular deployment as well. In case you want to basically, let's say if there is an issue in production, you can go to a last stable version and stuff like that. When your application is in production, you can also monitor the logs. This is what gets into our optimized site. So you can see all the real-time analytics about your application. And this gives you real-time data. As soon as there is new request comes in, you will be seeing all these actions. And you can see we have a lot of errors coming in this application. So let's click on this one of the logs, and you can see what log we are actually getting. So we are having the same 403 country, region, territory not supported log, and then we can go deeper into each node itself that caused that error, and then go into that application workflow itself and then fix that error ourselves. We can also go into the report section to basically see analytics kind of view of our application's usage, what is the average response time, total tokens, and other different important analytics. You can also view your jobs. Now, jobs are your data ETL jobs. These are synchronous data activity that is happening from third-party sources, whether unstructured or structured or unstructured. So I can view passage indexing and see that, okay, this cron job is running every 24 hours. And then every time it runs, what are the new records it is fetching. We have made it super easy. You can easily go to the templates and look at one of the agent kit templates that we have. And agent kits are full stack agentic applications, which uses just the same basic form. So the same application we were just talking about, semantic search, it's available as agent kit, and you can directly hit build, and you can just build the entire semantic search by just using a step-by-step process. For example, just answer what is your data source, Google Drive, OneDrive, Postgres, and then voila, just configure a couple of options, and the same setup that we just saw will be deployed for you within 5 minutes, and then you can go into production. That was a complete high-level overview of Lamatic platform, but I'm sure there are a lot of capabilities that I have definitely missed. But you should definitely check them out in our documentations, which are nicely organized in the same capabilities and features as we discussed today. You can also visit the template section and discover all the pre-made open source templates that we have built as part of the agent kit, which are single-click deployments, and also all the different examples and templates that the community has built, and you can use it within Lamatic itself. Feel free to check out the integrations and request any integrations that you want, and we'll help you out in no time. And at last, join a community at Slack that will help you get connected with one of our engineers and get your answers as quickly as possible. And once again, thank you for joining Lamatic, and I can't wait to see what you build with Lamatic. Bye.